Hello and good morning. Welcome to the Queen's University Student Life webinars. Those of you who have taken part in this webinar series before will be aware that this is one in a series of webinars that have been taking place over the last few weeks. You will know that we've covered a number of different topics, and they include sport, accommodation, careers and employability, student well-being, disability, and today's talk, I'm delighted to say, is something that I'm sure all of you will be very interested in. It is about our Students' Union. We understand that this is a very, very difficult time. It's an unprecedented time, and what we are trying to do with these webinars is to try and give you a flavour for what Queen's has to offer to you outside of the classroom. So thank you very much for taking part. My name is Radhika Longbottom, and I am the GB Student Recruitment Officer. So my role is to go out and visit schools and take part in exhibitions in England, Scotland, Wales, and the islands, and advise students and teachers about the opportunities that there are to study at Queen's. So I shall now pass on to my colleague, Raymond Miller, and he will take it from here on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Radhika. As Radhika has mentioned, my name is Raymond Miller. I do a similar role to Radhika in that I'm an undergraduate recruitment officer, but my area is Northern Ireland and EU. So if you are from that region or any of those regions and you have any queries, I'm the person you would get in contact with. Today, we are delighted that you've joined us, and we are delighted that we are joined by Ellen Fearon, who is the Student Activities Officer here at Queen's University within our Students' Union. Before I hand over to Ellen, just to make you aware, at the end of Ellen's presentation, there will be an opportunity for you to ask her some questions about Students' Union and the things that she is going to talk to you about. And that will be through the chat feature at the side. Now, that isn't enabled at the moment, but as soon as Ellen stops talking, then you will be able to ask some questions. And just to let you know, those questions will be private, so only myself, Radhika, and Ellen will see those. So feel free to ask anything in confidentiality. Thank you very much, everyone, and I'll just hand over to Ellen.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this webinar, and I hope you find it really useful. As Raymond said, I'm Ellen, the current Student Activities Officer within Queen's Students' Union, and today I'm here to tell you all about RSU, everything we have to offer to enhance your student experience at Queen's, to tell you a bit about myself and my journey at Queen's as well. But first of all, I'm going to play you a short video about our Students' Union and all that we have to offer. So hopefully that gives you a brief insight into just how much we have going on a yearly basis and the hundreds of opportunities that will be available to you through our Students' Union if you choose to come to Queen's. As I've said, I'm Ellen Fern. I'm the Student Activities Officer within the Students' Union. I am one of a team of 6 full-time officers who are elected on an annual basis to represent and deliver for every student at Queen's. And before I tell you more about myself, I'll really briefly tell you what a Students' Union is, because many of you will be first-time students and might not know just yet. So when you come to university, in most cases, you'll be an automatic member of your Students' Union. And again, in most cases, a Students' Union is a physical building and also different services available for students, including social activities, representation, and academic support for its membership. And we offer that and so much more as well. So if I can get one message across to you all today, it's this: that your student years and your university experience are about so much more than just getting a degree. They're about making lifelong friends, discovering new passions, developing yourself as a person, and having incredible experiences that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. And while everyone's experiences at uni are completely different, it'll be the most exciting time of your life. You're given a new sense of independence and freedom, and you'll learn so much about yourself. And I'm really excited for you all to experience that. So just a bit about my university experience before we get started. So I came to Queen's in 2015. And to be honest, for my first year in university, I didn't really get involved in much. I didn't really enjoy my course. And I stayed in friend circles that were quite familiar to me already. I still had a great year, but it wasn't what I wanted out of uni. And that's why I'm now so passionate about the SU and the student experience. Because when I came back the next year, everything was different. And I had the best 3 years of my life. I changed course. I'm now a law and politics graduate, which is something I was so passionate about studying. And I threw myself into the opportunities that the SU had to offer. I joined lots of different clubs and societies. That year I ran the Green Society, which allowed me to run loads of different environmental campaigns and meet lots of new people from all over the world. I also got involved in a society called Enactus, which you've probably never heard of, but it exists to run student-led social enterprises that help the local community, which is honestly the best thing I've ever done. I've never had any interest in business or social enterprise, so it was a bit of a random decision for me to join that society, and it ended up completely changing my life. And I think that is what's so special about our Students' Union. So I spent 3 years in Enactus and went on to help run it eventually. During that time, I founded and ran my own social enterprise, as well as overseeing 2 others. I worked with the Belfast homeless population. I've worked with refugees and asylum seekers to help them become citizens and find a permanent home. I've worked to help reintegrate ex-convicts into society, and I've also got to help develop pathways for underprivileged young people from across NI to be able to come to uni. And doing all of that work gave me opportunities to travel all over the UK and Ireland, to meet people who share the same passion as me, for helping the most vulnerable in our society. And I've made so many friends for life through all of that. And as well as developing myself so much as a person, those experiences has also led to so much professional development for me, which is also what uni is all about. It gave me the opportunity to do a summer internship with KPMG, which was incredible. And this past summer in 2019, I got the opportunity to do something called the Washington Ireland Programme, which sends 30 young people from across Ireland to Washington, DC for 2 months, as well as New York for a week to live and work. I got to live with an incredible American host family. I worked a few hundred meters from the White House in a trade union, and I got to spend my summer learning from incredible people who make the world run. Again, all of this leading on from a decision to join a society incredibly special. So some other stuff I got to do, last year I set up a new society called Cavaliers in Need, which is a fundraising society for dogs that need medical treatment, which basically gave me the chance to do something good, but also to hold puppy petting days and spend a lot of time with a lot of dogs, which is the absolute dream. And in terms of working directly for the SU, in my final year as a student, I got the chance to be a part-time intern for our volunteer SU department within our Students' Union. And my job was essentially to help deliver programs to reward student volunteers for the incredible work that they do and give them opportunities to develop themselves, which again was the absolute dream. That was my part-time job, and it was a really defining experience for me. So because of all of that, in my final year, I decided to run for election to be a student officer, because I'm so passionate about making sure that students get the same opportunities that I did and get that incredible student experience the whole way through their degrees. And that's where I am today in this role. So I've talked about myself for long enough, but I really wanted to emphasize that there's so much in there that I got to do through my 3 years. And that's without even mentioning the nights out, the campaigns, and all the opportunities that my actual degree gave me. And again, all of that is a minute section of the hundreds of things you can get involved in when you come to Queen's, which I'll tell you a wee bit about now as well. What we're made of. So when you think of an SU, you may think of the bar, or just called the speakeasy, or the SU shop that we have for our students, which are both great and you're going to love if you come here. But there's more to the SU than just cheap pints and meal deals. We have a lot of different departments that work really hard to deliver for our students, and there is something for absolutely everyone in our SU. Our advice SU team, for example, are there to offer free, independent and confidential advice and support for students. If you ever find yourself stuck and in need of guidance on academic, financial or housing issues, we have a team dedicated to help you through that. Particularly with the current crisis we're all facing, this team has been working around the clock to help make sure our students are safe and getting the advice that they need. I personally used this service a lot when I was a student and they're absolutely fantastic. If you have an idea for a business or just want to help develop your employability skills, Enterprise SU is there to help you do that. They run competitions throughout the year to win funding for student businesses, and they offer one-to-one advice sessions that have helped set up over 100 new businesses run by our students, which is incredible. They run programs such as Dragon's Den for students and an Innovate Her program to help young women break into the business world. And if you want to get involved in charity work or looking for a way to give back to the community, Volunteer SU has links with over 400 organisations and charities to link you up with as a student volunteer. They also run our own programmes such as homework clubs, which sends our students into schools to help underprivileged children study and work, to give them extra support with their grades, and Handy Helpers, which engages in all kinds of work in the local community, repainting local alleyways, planting trees, litter pickups, and basically just making Belfast its best self. They also run an Inspiring Leaders programme, which is the programme I interned on for a year last year, which works to reward and develop our student volunteers. So you can see there, Volunteer SU in itself offers so much to get involved with and help you develop yourself. My favourite thing about our Students' Union is that we have over 215 clubs and societies. My experiences in our clubs and societies have absolutely shaped who I am as a person. The friends you'll meet in whatever clubs and societies you join will be your friends for life. They'll be your uni family, and you'll develop new interests and passions that you could never have guessed that you would have had. And I actually, if you have time after this webinar, I would actually really encourage you to go onto our website, which is qbsu.org, just to look at the list of clubs and societies that we have, because it genuinely is crazy. Any possible interest that you want to check out, I guarantee that we already have a society set up and running that you can get involved in. And if by chance we don't, you can set one up and get people involved. From origami to languages to underwater hockey to skydiving to gaming. We have academic societies, political societies. At one point, we actually had a Quidditch society, which I'm not sure how that worked, but people loved it. And so much more to offer as well. At the minute, we have over 15,000 students involved in our clubs and societies. They are entirely led by students for students with staff support. And you can usually check them all out at our Freshers Fair at the start of term and see what you want to get involved in there and have a look around. So on top of all of that, RSU exists to represent and fight for students on the issues that you care about most, from tuition fees to the environment to social justice issues, and that's really where me and my team comes in. So this is me and my team here. Your student officer team are elected once a year to represent you, and by the time you come to Queen's, this team will be different, but they are an incredible bunch of people who will work around the clock for you. So I'm just going to chat a bit about the different roles and everything our student officer team does, so you know what support is available to you if you do come here. So starting from your right, we have Jason, who is our education officer. So Jason's job is to support and represent you on all and any academic issues. Jason's role in the past few months has been so important in making sure that students aren't academically disadvantaged due to COVID-19 and ensuring a smooth transition to online learning for the past few weeks as well. He also works with our network of over 800 elected school and course reps to ensure that you have a voice in your education and that you're represented at every level. Hamza is next. Hamza is our Equality and Diversity Officer. Hamza's role is to make sure that every student at Queen's is treated equally and fairly. She supports events that promote diversity and greater cultural understanding, and she represents the interests of all students who are international, mature, parents, carers, disabled, LGBT+, women, BAME, and students of all faiths. I'm our Activities Officer, and in my very non-biased opinion, I have the best role and definitely the most fun. So my job is to organise a range of events for students in our union, freshers fairs, bake-offs. I run a brunch club on weekends for international students, the occasional pub crawl here and there, and lots more as well that we have going on. So my role is also to work to create a community spirit amongst the students at Queen's so that you feel like you're at home when you're with us here. I also help students get involved in volunteering, enterprise, and clubs and societies and find opportunities that suit them, no matter what you want to get involved in. Connor is our president and he oversees all activities related to the union. So he works to identify priority issues for students and then leads campaigns on them alongside our team and alongside students themselves. This past year, he ran a massive campaign on student mental health, which is a massive issue right now, and to ensure our students were protected during the current crisis that we're in as well. Then we have Kieran, who is our welfare officer. Kieran represents any and all interests relating to your welfare. He works to help students with their general well-being, their mental and sexual health, housing and safety as well. And he works to promote well-being campaigns all across campus for our students. And finally, Gift is our postgraduate officer. And she works to represent postgraduate students' interests in relation to their academic studies. And she also runs campaigns to improve the academic student experience of postgrad students. So I know some of you might be looking into doing a postgrad here at Queen's, and we have someone on our team dedicated to you to help you during that process. So again, a dedicated team will be there to help you with whatever issues you're facing and to make sure you're getting what you want out of uni. And just to give you an idea of some of the great things that the SU has done over the past few years. So we're in the process right now of creating a new world-class facility to house all of our services. We know that mental health is a top priority for so many students. And so last year we launched our very own mental health strategy, which is called Omni, that works to support students and tackle the structural problems relating to mental health. We introduced sexual health clinics to destigmatise the conversation and promote student welfare. We created a climate action group filled with staff and students to lobby the university with our very own Green New Deal. We helped to prevent an increase in tuition fees for students in NI when they were raised in the rest of the UK. And we created the Student Partnership Project to ensure that your voice is heard in your education. So a campaign spirit and making sure our students are represented is a vital part of what we do in our SU, and there's so much there to get involved in as well. So I've already talked a good bit about some of the ways that you can get involved in our union if you do come to Queen's through joining one of our many clubs and societies, all the volunteering opportunities that we offer, enterprise and employability opportunities, and much more. But for us, it's really important that we don't just want our students to get involved in the union, we want students to lead our union. And if there's an issue that you really care about, whether it's anything from the number of deadlines you might have in your first semester here, or all the way up to climate change or big structural issues, you can get involved in changing that. And it's incredibly cheesy to say, but you can be the change that you want to see in the world, and our union has opportunities to offer that. So we have around 1,000 elected positions at all different levels in our union. So when you come here, you'll have a course rep, no matter what course you're on, which is someone elected to make sure that your course is running smoothly and to support you. The same with school reps and every other level, and you can go on to become one as well. We also have our part-time officers who volunteer with us, who represent different groups on issues relevant to them. So we have an LGBT+ students officer, a disabled students officer, an international students officer, and many others. And again, these are all just incredible opportunities both to get involved in. And I also think it's really nice to know that there are literally hundreds of people working to make sure that your uni experience is the best it can possibly be. So as I said earlier, we're in the process of creating a new headquarters for ourselves. A new state-of-the-art students' union will be ready in 2022 and open to our students. But for now, this is just a wee map of where we're currently located in Belfast. Now, this maybe won't mean a lot to you right now, but just to let you know, we're a 1-minute walk away from the main university building, right in the middle of campus. We're extremely close to the main student housing areas. We're across the street from some restaurants, a lovely coffee shop, and we're also just a 1-minute walk away from our very own SU bar, the Speakeasy, which our students love and spend a lot of time in. So it really is a great location. And this is just a bit of information about everything that we have to offer in our actual physical building. So we have all the departments I talked about earlier working here. So our clubs and societies, volunteer, enterprise, advice, voice, the officers, finance, marketing. But we also have some lovely areas that our students love to come and relax in. We have our very own SU lounge, which is complete with a pool table, an air hockey table, hammocks, microwaves, free tea and coffee, everything you could possibly want. And we have our own SU shop as well, which has a great range of foods, meal deals, SU and uni branded clothing, and much more. And we also have 5 different rooms, which our students can book out for events and meetings themselves. And this is our bar, the Speakeasy, which is fantastic. It has great events on every night of the week, different club nights, student quizzes, bingo, and everything else. And it also has some of the cheapest pints in Belfast, which is always a plus. So I thought I'd put a wee slide in here as well about some of the events we've done just in the past few weeks. Obviously, universities are closed at the minute, and we're no different. We're all working from home, and we're doing everything that we can to protect and engage with our students. And so in the past few weeks, we've hosted a range of different online events that our students have loved, to give them something to look forward to during lockdown, and just to ensure that we're still delivering a student experience that they can enjoy. So we've done an awards night to recognise the incredible work that our students do, different club nights virtually, which was really interesting. We held a great Students' Union bake-off with prizes, which was really fun, and we've been doing weekly quizzes as well, which our students have loved. So I'm just quickly as well going to plug our socials here. You can follow us to have a better look at the kind of thing that we've been delivering for the past year, and to keep an eye out for our plans for next year as well when you're making your choice on where to go. We do have some great contacts, so get in touch. So I've been talking for a really long time now, and I want to hear from you if you have any questions. But I did just want to say that a few years ago I started at Queen's. I planned to come, get my degree, and I would have laughed if you told me about all the incredible opportunities, friends, and experiences that I've made. I've loved every second of it, and I know that you will too. And I'm so excited for you to be able to experience university for yourselves, and hopefully get involved in our Students' Union. So yes, thank you for listening, and if you have any questions.
Ellen, thank you very much. That was really a brilliant insight into everything that goes on in the Students' Union. I guess for me, it was great to hear that it's not just about the clubs and societies. There's so many volunteering opportunities, the Enterprise SU, Advice SU. So it's good to hear all that. And from a personal point of view, to meet the person that helped set up Cavaliers in Need is a moment in my life. Those who are watching this webinar may not know, but the Cavaliers in Need is open to students and staff. And I know myself and my colleagues have gone over and met the dog, so great that you set that up. The questions are starting to come through here. So the first one is, can you join multiple clubs or societies?
Yes, absolutely. So it's probably almost the opposite as a problem. When people first go to Freshers Fair, they end up signing up to 12 clubs and societies because there's so many options. But absolutely, like my entire time during university, I was in at 3 clubs and societies at any given stage. And it depends on your commitment level. You might go to a meeting once a week, you might go to training once a week, or you might be really, really involved in a particular one. But you can join as many as you want. It depends how much time you have, really. But no, there's so many opportunities, and yeah, there's no limit, so don't worry about that.
Brilliant. And the next question here, what support is available to you if you wanted to set up your own club or society?
Yes, that's a good question. So that is part of my job as student activities officer, and we also have 2 full-time staff who work to support clubs and societies in our union. So basically what you would do there is you would come to one of us with your idea. We would just check to make sure that there wasn't already an existing club or society that we could put you in touch with. And then we just take you through all the steps to set it up. It doesn't take that long. And we do have about 10 new ones coming in every year. So yeah, that wouldn't be a problem.
Brilliant. Someone has asked here about do local students tend to go home at the weekend, and what opportunities are there from students who don't go home at the weekend?
Yeah, I suppose Belfast is a bit unique in the sense that some local students do go home at the weekends, but at the same time we do have quite a big international student population at Queen's who are about every weekend. We have a lot of GB students as well. So there's a lot of events going on at the weekends. As I said earlier, I run a brunch club at weekends for international students to come and join. And again, there's a lot of local students that come to those events as well. We also have a lot of different societies that operate through the weekends as well. So some students do go home, but there definitely is still a lot going on to get involved with.
If I could just jump in there, Alan and Raymond, we did a webinar a couple of weeks ago on the accommodation available at Queen's, and I just wanted to let everyone know that our accommodation team also organize a range of activities to keep both our GB and international students, as well as those sort of NI and Republic of Ireland students that wish to stay on. So there's a range of activities from visits to the zoo to, regular shopping trips to going out to the Giant's Causeway. There are a number of activities that our residential activities coordinators would organize for you, assuming, of course, you are staying in university accommodation. But if not, as Ellen said, there's so much going on both within the university as well as in the city. St. George's Market, for example, is a great place to go out to on weekends. They have amazing boutique shops. They have fabulous food and a great way to just explore Belfast.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's a great point. If you are living in accommodation and staying here, there's lots to do. But equally, if you're not, Belfast is an amazing city for you. Mm-hmm. The next question here, there are lots of opportunities for nights out and going out and meeting people, and that's great. But if you did have some concerns about alcohol or substance misuse, do SU support you in that way?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that question means. If you mean in terms of doing like other stuff that it isn't related to alcohol, like again, we have lots of events going on during the day, and we have like cafe nights and stuff during the evening that doesn't involve alcohol. If you're looking support with like something like substance abuse, we have an entire wellbeing department in the university, and we have our university health centre, and again we have our advice SU team. So again, I'm not sure what that question means, but either way, there are people there to help, and again we have lots going on, so I wouldn't let that worry you too much.
Yeah, no, I think you've definitely answered both sides of it there. I guess if you can still have fun if you don't want to drink alcohol, basically. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
And sorry, just to reiterate as well, there are options for you if you're in the first year and if you're choosing to come to Queen's to specify in your accommodation form that you would like to live in accommodation where there's no alcohol. Again, it's on first come first serve basis, but if you have any concerns about alcohol, then you can choose to ask for a room in a house that's alcohol free.
Brilliant. Ellen, this one's directed to you directly and about your own experience. Did you find it difficult to balance your uni work as well as all the activities from your involvement in societies?
Yeah, no, to be honest, I did, but I think that is something that has helped me develop so much that once you take on quite a lot of work, you have to structure your days, and you just develop yourself so much, because To be honest, I think that because I was involved in so much, that really helped me with my degree, because I knew that I had to set time aside to study if I wanted to. Whereas if I wasn't doing other stuff, I probably never would have studied. I'm not the ideal student, I'm not gonna lie about that. But no, I never really found that too difficult. I think that actually helped me get through my degree.
Brilliant. So it's all about time management there, I guess.
Yes.
This person is wondering when you have time to attend, especially if a course runs 5 days a week. So do the clubs and societies happen during class times, or is it mostly in the evenings, or when would they happen?
So it really depends. For example, law and politics was a different sort of structure. So I was only in class maybe like 12 hours a week, which really helped me because a lot of that was reading time. But for the likes of like medicine and stuff like that, which is a bit more intensive, you have clubs and societies operating on the weekends and the evenings. We also in Queen's do Wednesdays. That's just a half day, and a lot of clubs and societies will operate their events on Wednesday afternoons after 12, which is free time for students. So again, even if your course is extremely intensive, there's still so much time to get involved, and a lot of clubs and societies will operate around you as well to try and make sure that you're included in events and stuff like that.
Super. This question's come in about support for people with dyslexia. Before you answer whether or not SU have anything specifically, excuse me for that, Ellen, we do have a webinar from our Disability and Wellbeing Services, and I'll actually send a link to that this person. Because through that webinar, we had a postgraduate student who spoke about her journey through dyslexia and the different support mechanisms that Queen's put in place for her. But Ellen, do SU have anything specific that they would help people with, or would they direct them to the Disability and Wellbeing Services?
Usually we would just direct people to Disability and Wellbeing Services, but also my team would work on that sort of stuff a lot. Like if there was a specific complaint maybe, or like an issue with your course and you weren't getting the support that you needed for some reason, our education officer would work to fix that. And our Equality and Diversity officer is also there to help with any problems. But usually for big issues, we would signpost.
Brilliant. How do you actually become a full-time or a part-time student officer?
So to be a full-time student officer, so this is my full-time job for a year. It's a paid position. So you run for election. So every February or March, there's an all-student election. Every student has a vote for the 6 positions. And if you win, then you have the job for a year and the role for a year. Part-time student officers are volunteer roles, so they work with us alongside doing their degree. So it's not the same level of commitment. They maybe do like 10 hours a week or something like that. And again, they also take part in that election, but it's just a different category. But yes, so you have to put yourself up for election. It is a wee bit scary, but it's definitely worth it. And all of our officers love what they do.
Did you have a particular campaign slogan that you used to get your votes?
I think mine was "All in with Ellen," which I regret not.
I mean, it worked. The next one, are some societies selective? So would you have to audition for certain societies? That's a good question.
No, so I think in some other universities that might happen, but no, you can join any club or society that you want to, as long as you have an interest. The likes of maybe like drama club and stuff like that, you might have to audition to be part of like a bigger project. But to get in to any club or society, no, there's no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, I know you can't join anything. Certainly for some of the sports teams, if you're playing at a certain level, you would have to go to trials or attend training and that sort of thing. And similarly with the dance group as well, I think you have to perform at a certain level. So that there will be certain clubs and societies that you have to perform at a certain level. But in terms of joining the clubs, you can join anyone.
Yeah, so just worth mentioning as well, our sports clubs operate at 2 sort of different levels. So we have performance level sports clubs and then participation sports clubs. So even if, for example, you wanted to play rugby, but you weren't, you didn't think you were at the level that you could be at that performance level, you could still join a participatory club. So again, there's still lots to get involved with either way.
Brilliant. What is the proportion of local students compared to students from England? Radhika, maybe you have a better insight into that one.
I would sort of, seeing as I have responsibility for GB and the islands as a whole, I like to treat everybody as a group, and I would loathe to say, you know, this is the exact number of English students we have. So all I'm going to say at this point is that we have a fantastic mix of students, not just from GB, but also internationally. And what that means is you have a very rich and diverse education, both inside the classroom and outside of the classroom, where you get to meet people from lots of different countries. Internationally, we have over 70 different sort of countries that are represented on our student body. In terms of students from GB and the islands, obviously they are not as many as sort of the domestic students, the NI and the European students, but they are a sizable number. And for example, larger courses like medicine, you know, where we take over 200 students, there's always going to be a fantastic mix of GB students, of Irish and Northern Irish students, and of international students. And I would say that would be, you know, very, very similar in lots of different courses as well. So I'm not going to put a number on it, but I'm going to say that, you know, you can look forward to a very diverse range of classmates when you come to Queen's.
Yeah, and certainly the proportion of students from different regions changes every year. So there, you know, there's no way of getting that, but certainly you get a really good mix of meeting people.
Mm-hmm.
Alan, this one's for you. Is the brunch club available for everybody? So would that include GB students, NI students?
Oh yes, absolutely. So it's sort of I suppose targeted towards international GB students, just to make sure that there's a wee bit of extra support there, because maybe they are away from home a wee bit further. But it's open to everyone, and people from all over, even local students and stuff come. So yes, definitely open to everyone.
Do students normally become student or school reps in their first year or second year, or when would they tend to do that?
So usually, sorry, we're in the middle of a bit of a system change with this at the minute.
Okay.
Usually not in your first year, because you're new to Queen's, you maybe don't know how the system works yet. So from second year onwards, you usually apply to that. Just because our elections for that usually run in October, and you're just at uni, and you probably it's probably a bit too much. But you'll always have academic representation, no matter what year you're in.
Right. Do you have a medic society for sports and activities? As I know, a lot of times the medics timetables mean that they might not be able to join general sports societies. So I guess the question is there specific clubs and societies for medical students because their workload is quite high?
Not that I'm aware of at the minute. Again, a lot of our clubs will operate to allow students from all courses to be able to join, because they don't want to leave anyone out. And it usually is clubs usually train and stuff at evenings time anyway. We do have one society that is called Medics for Medics, and that is to support like medical students, supporting medical students. So I would, if you do come here, I would recommend maybe joining that society and suggesting that to them. And also, if that's something you're really interested in, you can set up your own society. But again, most clubs train in the evenings and stuff anyway, so you still should be able to take part.
Ellen, I'm just going to jump in here. Now, I know this because we have a student who is from Exeter who comes and helps me out sometimes in England when I'm out recruiting. And this young man is in his 4th year of medicine, and he talked to me very recently, well, for a while now, about a society that's run by our medics, and it's called the Teddy Bear Hospital. And I'm sure you've heard about this, Ellen. Basically, what it involves is students that are studying medicine go out and they do sort of interactive lessons. And this could be in schools, they could be in youth clubs or in school clubs, and they actively work and they teach sort of young people about things like healthy eating, healthy bones, the importance of physical activity. And that's usually run in the afternoon on a Wednesday, which is traditionally a sport afternoon. And that's very much something that our medics sort of tend to get involved in. So if you get the opportunity, do a quick search for the Teddy Bear Society. And as Ellen was saying, there are specialist ones as well for our medicine students.
And I would just add to that as well, that original query came about sports. And I suppose if you do have a high workload in your chosen sport, you can join the participation team, and it may not be, you may not have to go to as much training than you would do if you were playing in one of the performance teams. So there's certainly opportunity, no matter what you're studying, to get involved in the sports.
And I suspect, like most universities, we do get sort of the Wednesday afternoons to pursue sport. So that's also the time to do other activities, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next question here. Are there any clubs or societies that relate directly to your course? So the example given here was software engineering. Is there a software engineering club or society?
I'm 90% sure there is. Again, we have like 215, so I'm not entirely sure. But for most like general subject groups, like there's a law society, there's a maths and physics society, there's definitely an engineering society.
Yeah.
There's actually a few, because there's Engineers Without Borders, and different groups like that compete. So there actually is a lot of opportunities for engineers to get involved with. There's computer science societies, so there's basically a society for every sort of grouping of academic subjects.
Yeah, perfect. How easy is it to integrate into the clubs and societies? Student, is there some sort of introduction for new members, or how would that work?
Yeah, so that's very much up to the particular club or society. As I said, they're led by students, run by students, but like very much so, like people who run clubs or societies are so passionate about it, and that's why they do it. And they want to get new members. They want to make people sort of feel the passion that they have, and the reason that they're involved. So for September and October, a lot of what clubs and societies do is try to recruit new members, put an effort in with free pizza, movie nights, all that sort of stuff to make you feel welcome, to make sure that you're making friends in your club or societies. So yeah, absolutely, that's why people do it, because they love it so much. So I wouldn't have any worries about that whatsoever.
Does the Students' Union or the Speakeasy Bar have certain opening times, or is it open 24/7 to students?
It's not open 24/7. The bar definitely isn't open 24/7. I think it maybe opens from
anyone would do any work if that was the case.
No, it would be dangerous. I think it's open from lunchtime until, depending on if there's a club night on, until about 2 or 3, and then our building closes at maybe like 11 every night. Or like office SU building. Great.
I mean, I suppose if people were living in Queen's accommodation and they wanted support, I know there is people on 24/7 there, so they could get support through that if they needed it immediately. And certainly you guys can drop you an email at any time and you'll get back to them first thing if they have any concerns about anything.
Yes, absolutely.
How would it be possible to become a full-time officer while studying full-time? So your role, you're not full-time at the minute, Ellen, while doing your role, or have you moved on, or what stage are you at?
Yes, so I've graduated, so I'm technically still a student, but no, it's a full-time job. So it's 35 hours a week. It's a full-time wage. So you would either take a year out of your studies to do it, or you would do it the year after you graduated. So you couldn't do both, but if you wanted to be a part-time officer, you could do that alongside studying full-time.
Super. Do all the clubs and societies meet on campus?
It sort of depends, because Queen's campus in itself is quite close to the city centre. and there's sort of a lot to do in Belfast. It's not always on campus. Most of the time for regular meetings, regular training and stuff, they'll use our sports facilities or our own students' union to meet and hold events. But there's also scope there to go all over Belfast for events and for activities and stuff like that.
Yeah. What activities do SU run during the Freshers Week?
So it changes every year, I suppose, really depending on who your officer team are. So we have a big freshers fair every year, which is where you'll get to meet all of the clubs and societies, all of the volunteering opportunities that I talked about and stuff like that. And then there's a lot of pub crawls that go on. A lot of clubs and societies will operate their initial meetups and stuff in that week and try and recruit members and get students involved in everything. And I think that's the main things. We leave a lot of scope for clubs and societies and students to be able to operate their own sort of events. But Freshers Week and the first few weeks of September are packed with events. So you'll have probably about 7 things to choose from every night.
Brilliant. So this one is about your own experience, Ellen. How did you cope with the new experience and expectations of coming to university?
Yeah, so I think it definitely is an adjustment. I think that sort of sense of freedom, like for most people, you're living sort of by yourself away from your family for the first time, and the expectation is completely on you. Like no one's going to check up on you to see if you're going to class and all that sort of stuff. So it definitely is an adjustment. But like what really helped me is knowing that there was thousands of people in Queen's just in the exact same boat. And meeting people who are going through the same thing and just sort of going through that process together. But like as I said before, there's just so many people, hundreds of people in Queen's that are working directly towards that to make sure that you're comfortable and that you feel at home and that you're being supported. So to be honest, I didn't find it that difficult of an adjustment. I think that there's a lot of people there to help you through that.
Yeah, I guess if you are feeling like you're not able to cope when you come to uni, there is so much support available to you through the wellbeing services, or you can contact you guys in SU, or like I mentioned, or through accommodation. Your advisor of studies would be able to signpost you to any relevant information that you need. So there's lots of support available to you if you're feeling like you can't cope with university. Is there a Freshers Fair for all the clubs and societies at the start of the year? So are they all involved in the Freshers Fair?
Yes, the vast majority of them will be. Again, that is because they're student-led, that is up to them. So perhaps if there's a few that aren't there, maybe they just couldn't make it, or they were too busy, or maybe they've become like a wee bit inactive or won't start up again until a wee bit later in the year. But for the vast majority, like there will be about like 180 at least there. So it's sort of an all-day event, to be honest, to walk around and take everything in and speak to everyone. So yeah, a lot of choice.
Brilliant. Last couple of questions, Ellen. When is the best time to sign up for a club or society?
So you can sign up for a club or society, just to say, at any point during the year. In January, we also hold sort of like a refreshers, which is like a reintroduction to any club or societies, maybe if you missed out on the chance in first semester. The best opportunity probably is to join Freshers Week the first few weeks, so that you're meeting people who have been there at the same time as you, and you're sort of going to those first initial events and stuff like that. But also you can join any year throughout. So I joined a lot of clubs and societies in my final year as well, because I was like, last chance, want to get involved in everything. So like people will be lovely to you and make friends with you no matter what stage at your uni journey you're in. But definitely the first few weeks I would try and get involved in as much as possible and just see what you're passionate about.
Cool. The last one here, are there many modern languages clubs, and what sort of activities do they actually get up to?
Yeah, so I think we have about 9 modern language clubs at the minute. I know one of my good friends used to run the French Society in Queen's, and he ran like language cafes and stuff like that for people just to show up and practice their language skills and develop on that. It's also maybe important to mention that those societies are also open to people who have never spoken the language before, and a lot of those societies will offer classes at different levels for beginners, intermediates, and people just trying to develop their language skills. And then there's also the social side of those societies as well. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of choice there as well.
Yeah, so they tend to go out on nights out and stuff. They're not just sitting in a room together speaking French to each other and stuff like that.
They do both.
Yeah, they do both. There's a social side to it too. Brilliant. Listen, Ellen, that's all the questions at the moment. Thank you so much for answering those in such detail and for giving us such a brilliant insight into the Students' Union here at Queen's. Just going to hand over to Radhika just to finish up, but thank you.
Well, thank you, Raymond, and thank you very, very much, Ellen. That was so useful, and do you know what? I've learned something new as well. It's great when we sort of connect with the Students' Union. That you guys do so much and sort of enrich the life of the students outside of the classroom so much that I think it's great to have you on board and explain exactly what support and help and opportunities are available for our students when they join Queen's. So I will just finish off by saying a big thanks to everybody who has participated in our event today. I hope that you have found both Ellen's experience and her knowledge and the information that she's provided about the Students' Union useful. I think just to reiterate what Ellen was saying, it's a great opportunity to meet people. It's a fantastic opportunity to broaden your horizons, to really develop your potential sort of transferable skills that you can take out to your employers and to develop your career prospects. You know, work on your sports, both at participation level, maybe even, you know, get to elite athlete stage. But it's a fantastic way to get involved in university, and we're very, very proud of the work that the Students' Union do for us here at Queen's. So just to finish off, I wanted to make you aware that the next week we have a number of external events that the domestic recruitment team will be undertaking, and as a result, the seminars, which are the webinars that are taking place in this series, will restart on the week starting the 25th of May. The other change that we have incorporated is that we will be having one webinar a week, and that will be on a Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So please keep an eye on our website. Please get involved. And if you have any questions, then please get in touch with us. We would love to hear from you, and we really look forward to welcoming you to Queen's in the coming months. Thank you and have a lovely day.